when we elevate our emotions in that greater fabric, we are creating our reality. We are rewiring the neurological network of our world.
Yeah. And that comes with the joy of weaving as well, the joy of bringing those threads together.
So we're starting our weekly brew with the wind behind us. We were hoping to be like the women in Vogue, you know, with the wind supporting the flowing of our locks. But here we are. We feel so lucky to live in Devon and have this abundance of venues
and natural landscapes.
Have this abundance of nature to choose from, to share with you.
And today it feels particularly awesome, doesn't it? I mean, just the way the sunlight's coming in on the water and the trees and the leaves. It's absolutely, I mean, it's so, it feels,
You were saying fairy-ish.
Yeah, very fairy-like. There's a lot of fairy folk around, I think.
Yeah.
So, but also this like deep-rooted ancient presence of life, of life force. You know, and it, like life force is so like busy and almost chaotic and active, and it's doing all these things. I've got the wind, the water, the leaves, and yet there's at the heart of it this stillness of presence, and that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling this stillness amongst the busyness of life, but in the nature, like life in nature, rather not like traffic and all of that. Yeah.
And we've got this gorgeous river, and I just took a moment to just be still and take in that river. And it just brings immediate peace to my body. And I love what we're trying to do is connect to this peace, this feeling of fullness.
Yeah. And expansiveness in that fullness.
And see what comes from our creative juices.
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned the moss on the trees and the fairy nature of this kingdom.
Yeah.
Because it's very much what I was with coming here. I absolutely lived in this world of the fairy and the fae growing up in my world.
Yeah.
And it was so real to me. And I love that I've come to this magical fairy kingdom because it connects me back to my childhood. And what someone said to me today was, you're so good at story, and when you speak in story, when you teach in story, I remember everything you say, and it goes in and I understand it, and it helps me with my transformation. So that's what I'm with. And I feel like, of course, it makes sense to really connect to what is our essence, what is my essence, and to connect that to how I create so that I can be in my own world, in my own sense of what fills me, what fills my cup. And so it can overflow through my creation into my offering for others, and it will be interesting and fun and sweet for others to receive.
Yeah, and I think I'm with that too. I'm with the ancientness of like these huge, gorgeous guardian trees that we're with, covered in moss. And I feel like my soul is transported back to the ancient times where, as humans, we just lived in nature. And these were our friends. These were spirits that we spoke to. These were where we played, where we made love, where we held counsel, where we communed. And I really feel that deeply being here with these ancient spirit guardians and the land and the water and the sunshine and the wind, that the spirits are really alive here. And my soul just, in a way, it yearns for those ancient times. There's bumblebees just come to us, busy as a bee, and blessing us with its hum. Yeah, I feel in a way that maybe all of us ache for those times of deep connection. I certainly do. and connection with ourselves, the land, each other, and the myths and the stories that came from those times are still with us in our soul, in our DNA, in our hearts, in our minds, in our nervous systems. And coming to a place like this reminds us of who we are really, and brings us back to life.
Brings us back to life. I feel so alive. Whenever we come into nature,
Yeah.
I get so excited with
It's really good,
everything. It's like, look how the sun's making rainbows, and look at the moss on the tree. It looks like a fairy world, and this dress that this tree's wearing, and it's just so inspiring. And there's this childlike innocence and childlike joy.
And a deep peace.
Yeah, that stillness when we can just stop.
Yeah.
And listen. And I feel like all of these beings want to co-create with us.
Yeah. I'm really getting that. It looks like there's a bunch of cheeky goblins or something on the branch up there, doesn't it?
4 little cheeky goblins joining us. I love that. All of these beautiful beings want to be part of this co-creation. So we've got 4 little goblins saying, hey, include us.
Yeah. And I feel like when I was like with the tree earlier, this is the moss is thick, like a bed, like a coat, like a blanket, wrapping around the tree, and that we would have been wrapped in the moss in ancient times. The moss would have been our bed, it would have been our cloak, our blanket. And then that brings up for me about what do we wrap ourselves in today? How do we soften ourselves into connection with our own hearts, with each other, with the one life? How do we? It's so simple but so powerful.
It feels to me that Gaia, the earth, the cosmos, what we're made of, wants us to remember that we're part of its fabric.
Yeah, that's it. It's the fabric.
We're part of these trees, the moss. Everything in this place is alive, and it's wanting to weave with us in co-creation. It wants us to remember that we're part of it.
Yeah, it does. For all of us. So all of you watching us, we're all part of this fabric, and I feel like that's what the moss is showing. It's like a sacred fabric wrapped around the trees. Mm-hmm. And then that's a reminder for me, what is my sacred fabric? It's like the fascia in the body as well, isn't it? It's all this interconnectedness. Everything is interconnected, and then but if it's like having an ancient tapestry where some of the weave has got thin, or the threads and cords have split, and somehow we also need to we're reminded that we are part of the weave, but we're also having to do a lot of mending.
That's right.
Bringing it back together, reconnecting, like reconnecting neurological pathways in the brain.
So in the same way that the fascia and our body interconnects, that fascia goes all over our body, and it keeps us connected and malleable and able to move. And that is the microcosm of the macrocosm, which is the great grandmother spider, the interconnectedness of the one life. And us to feel our point, our little star, our little fascia that we are in that greater universal fabric. So what comes up for me when I connect into this web is joy.
Yeah.
And that's what's waiting for us.
That is,
It's like when we make these connections, what we're bringing back is our joy of feeling connected and alive to this abundance, and the lie that our minds have been conditioned with, that we have to struggle. That there's lack and there isn't enough. And that might appear to be the case in our external world, because that's what we've created through our thought patterning. But it's like remembering that we are these quantum beings, that we're part of that fabric. And when we connect into that larger fabric and we believe in it like a fairy tale, we believe in it,
like
and
the myths and the legends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we feel it in our bodies. We
Yeah.
feel the aliveness and the joy, because feeling joy is real.
Yeah. And I think it's in our innate birthright as well. I think that's where we're supposed to be as humans,
That's
joyful.
right.
Yeah.
So anyone who says that the fairy world isn't real, it doesn't matter. Does it
No.
make you feel joyful?
Yeah.
Because it's that feeling of joy and connecting to what's possible that actually creates our reality. So the more that we can go into this realm, even if it's hard to believe in it, it doesn't matter. Feel it, enjoy it,
Yeah.
be alive in it. Play make-believe, be a child back in the land of the fairies and enjoy it. Because when we elevate our emotions in that greater fabric, we are creating our reality. We are rewiring the neurological network of our world.
Yeah. And that comes with the joy of weaving as well, the joy of bringing those threads together. And it might seem like a mundane task, but actually it's a very joyful task. When we look at our ancestors, they would sing and weave, they would sing and mend, it would be a community practice, not even a practice, it would be a community thing to do. And everyone would be so joyful. It was part of the fabric, literally working with fabric. And now it's exactly the same with energetic fabric as well. It's the same as this gorgeous moss behind us that has created this cloak around this gorgeous ancient guardian tree. We are weaving together the energy systems of ourselves back together, of our neurological pathways that have been bombarded with the modern world we live in, all those expectations, media, adverts, you name it. And actually, when we sit here on the earth with all the elements, we find that life has its own way of weaving magic. And the fairies and the spirits, the guardian spirits, are all here with us. And they love it. They are joyful. We are joyful. We can't help but co-create because we're all in this joyful, abundant space.
Absolutely. And it feels like with this solar eclipse that we've just had, it feels like we've gone through a portal.
Yeah.
Where this is now possible.
Yeah.
More possible. It's ripe and ready for us to connect to right now. And when we do, this is how we shift our reality. This is manifestation. We don't even have to know what we want or what we're doing. Emma and I have no idea what we're doing. We're following our joy. We're feeling it. We're showing up. And we're seeing where it goes. So it's literally about feeling into that fullness, that joy of life. And letting yourself go into that creativity, into that freedom, into what it's bringing up.
Yeah.
And following step by step.
And I think it can feel quite hard for people. If you're in a really stuck place, it feels impossible. It can feel really impossible. We've both been in really difficult situations in our lives. In some ways, it's even more important when you're in that stuck place to get yourself out into nature. And even if you feel like you're feeling nothing, maybe you're really numb from a shock or something that's happened in your life, somehow nature will hold you.
Yeah.
She really will. He, she, will, it, they, them. Nature is all of those and more. You will be held in the sacred sanctity of Mother Nature.
And to all of you who are struggling, I want you to know that Emma and I really do understand. Life has taken us through the deepest of struggles as well. And I'm still in it.
Yeah.
I am still very much holding struggle on one hand and this expansion into life and creativity on the other.
Yeah.
And it's not about ignoring what's difficult. It's about inviting it in to the field and saying, as I sit with all that is heavy and difficult, I support and nourish myself with all of this beauty around me. I've taken myself into nature today. I'm choosing life. I'm choosing my expansion into my creativity, because that is the best example that I can be to everyone around me and to most honor my own soul path. So I invite in that difficulty, and I look for the beauty. I look for the smallest of things that I can be grateful for, that I'm learning, that difficulty is teaching me, or how I can choose one slightly more positive thought that can just help to shift that difficulty, to take it up a notch, so that I can slowly start to work with it and mold it into letting it spin the lead into gold and release it into the magic of life, to be rewoven into the next iteration of matter, whatever that is.
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful, and it's about it is exactly that. It's not trying to draw a line under anything, not trying to say turn away and not look at the things that we're all challenged with, but to bring them in and say, yeah, I welcome you. I know that this is really tough, but how actually, and what you actually find is that normally in deep, dark, desperate, challenging times, there's always nuggets of gold. There's always nuggets of gold. So you can actually speak to your challenges and say, I know that this is really hard, but also I know you're trying to look after me and protect me through what you're doing. So how can we work together to make this passage through these troubled times a little bit easier than if you're kind of got this grating war-like energy. There is a lot of war speak about things like war on drugs, war on, I don't know, all sorts of things. Actually, we need to love these things and say, yeah, they are causing harm. There are harmful things around. There are traumatic things going on. But how can we envelop those, like this tree is enveloped in its cloak of moss? How can we envelop those in a cloak of love? What would they look like? What would our lives look like if we started to envelop ourselves in cloaks of love, and how that would shift and how that would enable us to welcome in our challenges, to see them maybe with a slightly different light, and to find a new weave that mends the cloth in a way that keeps it strong and also flexible to hold us through what comes next, whether that's whatever that may be, and enable us to create from a more solid foundation.
Yeah, and I honestly believe that the greatest way that we can serve life is to become the greatest version of ourselves we can, and we do that by raising our vibration, even if it's from the lowest place. Can we just find one way to start to raise it and to start to spin our straw into gold? And I love that we're going to end on the story, a beautiful fable of Rumpelstiltskin, which is all about the art of spinning straw into gold.
Although he was horrible.
Sure, and we won't. He did have that skill.
He did have that skill.
That kind of says
he was mean.
That you got to love him, Emma. He's got things to teach us.
And for me, literally what's just happened is reminding me that there is always joy and there's always a laugh in the darkest of times.
Yes.
There's always some comedy.
Yes.
There's always some black humour there.
Absolutely.
And that can help bring the vibration up. And maybe Rumpelstiltskin could have done with a taste of that when he got annoyed around the fire. We're all learning from each other.
We are Rumpelstiltskin.
We've got things to teach you.
Yes, I know he's listening. I can feel him. Anyway, beloveds, as this beautiful sunshine, I'm going to show you, shines upon us.
There, look at that.
Share the guardian of the trees.
Yeah. There's the other one with between.
So everybody has been telling us that we need to say, please like and subscribe.
Yes, please like, subscribe. That's really going to help boost what we're doing here.
Yeah, you can see this is not a priority, but it really is a priority because Apparently we need to do this.
We need to do it. So we much appreciate that.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. We've got a channel called Redefining Success. We're on Facebook. So please like and subscribe.
Yeah. And the more you do that, the more it supports us to bring more abundant adventures and brews and YouTube videos to you.
And share with us how these are touching you, what it's inspiring in you.
Is there anything you want us to talk about or look at or bring to you? Just let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on that note,
here's to redefining success.
Bye.
Bye.